Life inside Stockholm. Sweden, an ideal Nordic country where everything is perfect. The people are beautiful, polite, and everyone lives in perfect harmony with nature. But is this ideal image real? Or is it just an effective tourism marketing ploy? This video explores the myths and truths of life in the land of the modern Vikings, from the unique social customs that make other cultures wary, to the hidden challenges that millions of immigrants face when trying to integrate into Swedish society. Sweden has a massive land area of 528,000 square kilometers, a huge expanse, especially when compared to other European countries. The good thing about this is that, in such a peaceful and vast geography, only 11 million people live here. To put this in perspective, consider that Sweden has a similar land area to Spain, Thailand, or the state of California. But while Thailand has 50 million people, Spain has 72 million, and California has 40 million. This low density directly impacts the quality of life. According to the World Happiness Index of 2024, Sweden ranks as the third happiest country in the world, surpassing Switzerland and Norway. Is that a coincidence? Probably not. When you have plenty of space, peace, and abundant natural resources, it's easier to maintain both physical and mental wellness. Swedish women typically have that signature Nordic charm. Fair, flawless skin, striking blue or grey eyes, shiny blonde hair, and tall, well-balanced figures, all thanks to a healthy, active lifestyle. They don't need heavy makeup to stand out. Their elegance comes naturally, reflecting true beauty and simplicity. Beyond their looks, Swedish women's personalities make them even more fascinating. They're independent, strong, love their freedom, and communicate directly. They speak their minds honestly but with grace and subtlety. But here's the flip side. This beauty culture can be intimidating for many immigrants. There's social pressure to stay fit, dress well, and always look tidy, which can be overwhelming if you come from a more relaxed background. Dating is also different in Sweden. Apps like Tinder are extremely popular because face-to-face socializing can be more difficult due to the reserved Swedish nature. Many locals prefer digital introductions before meeting in person, creating a dating culture that prioritizes convenience over spontaneous romantic encounters. Swedish men are generally not focused on entertainment, but are more inclined toward leading a serious life. They are not interested in casual flings, rather, they seek serious relationships or marriage. This creates a dating environment where intentions are usually clear from the beginning. But the process of getting to that point can feel formal and structured compared to more spontaneous cultures. Living in Sweden is not cheap. A cup of coffee in Stockholm may set you back between $6 to $8. A meal at an average restaurant will cost you about $27 to $38. Let's not even get started on apartment prices in the city center. Taxes are a whole different story. If you're planning to work as a freelancer or run your own business, be ready to hand over 50 to 60% of your income to the Swedish government. This cultural and financial shock can be quite overwhelming for many immigrants. However, you have to remember that these taxes support a world-class welfare system, including free education, universal healthcare, generous family subsidies, and decent pensions. Now, this is one of the toughest parts about living in Sweden: making friends. Swedes are polite, respectful, and professional, but they can also seem distant and cold at first. Don't take it personally, it's just a cultural thing. The Swedish Wall is a real phenomenon describing the initial difficulty in making close connections with locals. Swedish society values individualism and privacy, which might feel unfamiliar if you come from a more community-focused culture. There are many unwritten social rules that can be overwhelming for newcomers. For example, Swedes insist on splitting every possible bill evenly, and acts of generosity seem few and far between. There's also no real tipping culture in Sweden, so it's easy to assume that everyone is stingy by nature. This is likely due to cultural differences more than a general selfish trait, as Swedes generally dislike waste, displays of wealth, and other actions that would make them stand out from the crowd. You are expected to make advance plans with people in Sweden before anything as simple as having a cup of coffee, not to mention things like dinner and casual meetups. This can lead to experiencing a lack of spontaneous dinner parties and adventures that is way more common in other cultures. However, once you break through this wall, Swedish friendships are deep and long-lasting. Swedes value authenticity and loyalty above all, and if you show those qualities, you'll be welcomed into their social circles. The key is understanding that building relationships in Sweden is more like tending a garden than lighting a fire. It takes time, patience, and consistent effort, but the results can be incredibly rewarding. Stockholm is hands down one of Europe's most beautiful capitals. Built on 14 islands connected by bridges, the city mixes medieval architecture with modern design in a truly breathtaking way. The old town of Gamla Stan feels straight out of a fairy tale, and areas like Södermalm buzz with life, creativity, and a bohemian spirit. Public transport is efficient and spotless. The streets are safe, even at night, and nature is always just around the corner. You can start your day downtown and go hiking or boating in the archipelago by afternoon. Stockholm's location on the banks of Lake Mälaren and the Baltic Sea creates a unique urban environment where water is always visible. The city is very close to the capitals of Finland, Helsinki, and Estonia, Tallinn, with the Baltic Sea lying between these three capitals. You can travel by sea to the beautiful capitals of these countries, and you'll experience a similar way of life and climate in all three. Stockholm's archipelago alone has over 30,000 islands and skerries, most of which are accessible by public ferry or private boat. However, housing in Stockholm presents one of the biggest challenges. Getting a regulated rental apartment in the city centre can take up to 20 years. Most immigrants turn to the second-hand rental market, but prices can be sky-high. A two-bedroom apartment in Stockholm costs anywhere between $2,200 and $3,800 per month, consuming a huge portion of the average salary. Sign up for more unusual adventures and strange facts you won't find in textbooks. One of Sweden's most stunning features is its connection with nature. 69% of the country is covered by forests, mainly pine and spruce, giving you incredible air quality. Huge parks, walking and jogging trails, and green spaces are commonplace even in cities. This creates a lifestyle where being outdoors isn't just a weekend activity, it's woven into daily Swedish culture. The concept of allemansrätten means you can walk, camp, and pick berries and mushrooms almost anywhere in Sweden's nature as long as you respect the environment. But there's a catch that many tourists discover too late. While you have the right to access nature, you also have the responsibility to follow unwritten rules that Swedes learn from childhood. Picking the wrong berries, camping in the wrong spot, or making too much noise can quickly mark you as an outsider who doesn't understand Swedish customs. Summer in Sweden transforms the entire country. With the midnight sun phenomenon in the north, you can experience 24 hours of daylight, creating an almost surreal atmosphere where time seems to stand still. Swedes make the most of these bright months, often taking 4 to 5 weeks of vacation during summer. Many businesses essentially shut down in July, creating a cultural rhythm that prioritizes rest and rejuvenation over constant productivity. No exaggeration. The Swedish education system is among the world's best. Everything is free, from basic schooling up to university, even for immigrants. Top institutions like the Karolinska Institute, Stockholm University, and Lund University are recognized globally. UEA and Swiss citizens with permanent residency can attend university completely free of charge. Swedes even get paid every month through a combined study grant and low-interest loan totaling around $316 monthly. For immigrant parents, this is a golden opportunity. Your children can access world-class education without being buried by student debt. Plus, the Swedish system encourages critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving, all vital skills for the modern job market. However, there's a cultural expectation that education is taken seriously. Swedish students are expected to be self-motivated and independent learners from an early age. The education system also reflects broader Swedish values of equality and inclusivity. Schools actively work to minimize differences between students from various backgrounds, and there's extensive support for children with special needs. But this egalitarian approach sometimes means that exceptionally gifted students might not receive the specialized attention they would get in more competitive educational systems. Sweden has excellent job opportunities, especially in technology, engineering, medicine, and design. Companies like Ericsson, Scania, Electrolux, and many tech startups are always on the lookout for global talent. After Silicon Valley, Stockholm produces more unicorn startups valued at over $1 billion per capita than any other city in the world. Names like Spotify, Klarna, King, and Skype all have Swedish roots. Salaries are competitive, and working conditions are great. Expect around 25 paid vacation days, generous parental leave up to 480 days shared between parents, and flexible working hours. Sweden's work culture values balance over burnout, with a typical work week lasting 35 to 40 hours. Most people leave the office on time so they can spend time with family and enjoy their personal interests. But there's a catch. You absolutely need to learn Swedish to advance in your career. While many companies use English for international roles, Swedish proficiency is essential for most positions, especially in the public sector. Finding a job in Sweden isn't always easy for foreigners, and it's getting even harder now. If you don't speak Swedish or have a non-Swedish name, the process can feel even more difficult. What many don't realize is that Swedish workplace culture operates on consensus building rather than top-down authority. Decisions involve extensive consultation and discussion, which can be great for feeling heard but frustrating if you're used to quick decision-making processes. This flat organizational structure means that even entry-level employees can have input on major decisions, but it also means that changes happen slowly. We can't talk about Sweden without mentioning the winter. It's not just a bit cold, it's a whole experience, sometimes lasting up to 6 months in the north. During the hardest months, you might see only 3 to 4 hours of sunlight each day. Temperatures can drop as low as -30 degrees Celsius in the northern regions. Winter in Sweden can last from October to April, even in the south. When winter near the polar circle means up to 24 hours of darkness, it's no wonder many people struggle with seasonal depression. This can lead to feelings of isolation and seriously affect mental health. Seasonal affective disorder is common among expats who aren't used to such extremes. But Swedes have built a whole culture around winter. Skiing, ice skating, sauna sessions, and the famous Fika, a coffee and cake break, help people get through the dark months. There's even a concept called mys, which roughly translates to coziness or hygge in Danish. Swedes embrace winter by creating warm, comfortable indoor environments with candles, warm drinks, and comfort food. The winter also brings unique phenomena like the northern lights, which you can see dancing across the sky in vibrant greens, purples, and reds. Many visitors plan entire trips around witnessing this natural light show, and it's considered one of the most magical experiences Sweden offers. Sweden has welcomed many immigrants over recent decades, especially refugees from Syria, Somalia, and other conflict-affected countries. This diversity enriches Swedish society but also brings challenges for integration. In recent years, there's been a noticeable shift in how immigrants are perceived, with blame increasingly directed at immigrants, even those who actively contribute and make efforts to integrate. Neighborhoods like Rinkeby, Tensta, and Rosengård on the outskirts of Stockholm and Malmö have high immigrant populations and can help newcomers ease into Swedish life. You'll find international cuisine, community support, and services in many languages. However, many densely populated outskirt areas of the bigger cities have been increasingly segregated from Swedish society since the 1970s. This segregation is primarily due to failed integration policies from both local and national Swedish governments. Growing up in the same city can sometimes feel like different worlds depending on which neighborhood you come from, with large parts of immigrant populations struggling to learn Swedish, get Swedish jobs, or see any good reason to join Swedish society as a whole. Most crimes in the country are committed by people in these segregated areas rather than by native Swedes, as the high taxes and cost of living can be difficult for outsiders to bear. However, it's important to note that Sweden remains one of the safest countries globally, with crime rates still significantly lower than many other developed nations. Sweden is a world leader in renewable energy and sustainability. The country has managed the impossible, growing its economy while reducing carbon emissions. Recycling isn't just an option here, it's a way of life. Swedes are so serious about it that they actually import waste from other countries to keep their waste-to-energy power plants running. Less than 1% of household waste ends up in landfills. Everything else is recycled or used to generate energy. Sweden's modern waste incineration plants turn trash into electricity and heat for hundreds of thousands of homes. These countries even pay Sweden to take their trash, so Sweden not only gets the waste it needs for recycling but also makes money from it. This green attitude touches everything, from ubiquitous cycling and public transit to a love for local and organic products. If you care about the environment, Sweden will feel like you're living at the forefront of sustainable living. The commitment to environmental protection is so ingrained that it influences personal behavior, business practices, and government policy at every level. While Sweden is considered one of the world's happiest nations, mental health issues are more complex than the numbers suggest. The long, dark winters, the pressure to appear perfect, and the challenge of forming close connections can really impact expats' well-being. There's a phenomenon called jantelagen, or the law of jante, a social rule that discourages standing out or bragging about personal achievements. For those from more expressive cultures, this "don't think you're better than anyone else" attitude can feel stifling. This focus on conformity over standing out has certainly influenced Swedish society as a whole. Swedish healthcare offers excellent, free psychological support, and mental health conversations are becoming more open. Cognitive behavioral therapy is widely available, and awareness about emotional well-being is rising. However, accessing public healthcare can involve long waiting times. 31% of those needing specialized healthcare waited 90 days or more for their first visit with a specialist, and 39% waited an additional 90 days for treatment after the initial consultation. Contrary to what many expect, Swedish food has evolved significantly in recent years. Stockholm features many Michelin-starred restaurants, and the new Nordic cuisine is world famous for its focus on local ingredients and innovative cooking techniques. Traditional Swedish dishes include köttbullar, the famous Swedish meatballs usually made from beef or pork mixed with breadcrumbs, onions and spices, then pan-fried until golden. They're served with creamy brown gravy, mashed potatoes and lingonberry jam. Another unique delicacy is fermented herring, which has a very strong flavor and pungent smell but remains a beloved traditional dish. Still, if you're used to spicy, varied food, traditional Swedish fare can taste a bit bland at first. Flavors tend to be subtle, with lots of fish, game meats, wild berries and root vegetables. The good news is that big cities offer an amazing spread of international food, from authentic Thai cuisine to Ethiopian eateries and pizzerias run by Italian immigrants. Sweden also has a unique relationship with candy. The average Swede eats about 37 pounds of candy per year. They even have a special day called Lördagsgodis, or Candy Saturday, when everyone allows themselves to enjoy lots of sweets. Swedes believe too much candy is bad for your teeth and health, so they limit their sugar splurges to just one day a week. Sweden has become a global powerhouse in technology and innovation. For techies, Sweden is a paradise with flat work structures, less hierarchy, and a real drive for innovation. The government invests heavily in research and offers great tax incentives to tech firms and startups. Sweden's digital infrastructure is truly world-class, with internet speeds among the fastest in the world and a top-ranked 5G network. For digital entrepreneurs and remote workers, this means you can work from practically anywhere without worrying about connectivity issues. The country's commitment to digitalization extends beyond business to everyday life, making routine tasks remarkably efficient. Most government services, banking, healthcare appointments, and even simple purchases can be handled online through secure digital identification systems. Once you have BankID, Sweden's digital identification system, you can access most services online, saving time and reducing traditional bureaucratic hassles. Sweden is one of the countries that drinks the most coffee in the world. On average, a Swede drinks about 3 to 4 cups of coffee daily, usually preferring strong black coffee with no sugar and no milk. But coffee in Sweden isn't just about caffeine, it's about Fika. Fika isn't just a coffee break, it's practically a workplace ritual and social institution. Many companies even require employees to take time for Fika, which means having coffee, pastries and chatting with co-workers every day. A typical Fika includes coffee and cinnamon buns, but the most important part isn't the food, it's the chance to relax and connect with others. Swedes believe that taking time for coffee helps create balance in life, relieve stress, increase productivity, and strengthen bonds between family, friends, and co-workers. This cultural practice reflects the broader Swedish approach to work-life balance and social connection. Here's a fact most people don't know. Sweden hasn't been involved in any war since the year 1814. Yes, you heard that right. While the rest of the world fought in 2 world wars, regional conflicts, and revolutions, Swedes chose neutrality and focused on developing their society. Instead of spending on weapons and reconstruction, they invested in education, infrastructure, and social welfare. The result is clear today. Spotless cities, efficient transportation, and a society that works like a Swiss clock but with a special Nordic warmth. It's no wonder that giants like IKEA, Volvo, Spotify, and HM originated from this environment of stability and progress. But this peaceful history has created some unique social customs that visitors find either charming or completely bewildering. For instance, Swedes have developed what outsiders call the Swedish Wall, A cultural barrier that makes it notoriously difficult for foreigners to form close friendships with locals? This isn't rudeness. It's a byproduct of centuries of social stability where people formed tight-knit communities that rarely needed to expand. Breaking through this wall requires understanding customs that aren't written in any guidebook but are absolutely crucial for social integration. So is Sweden really the paradise it's made out to be? The truth is, it depends. For people who value stability, nature, top-quality education, and a solid social safety net, Sweden can absolutely feel like paradise. The country offers an exceptional quality of life for those willing to adapt, learn the language, and embrace the long winters. For others, especially those looking for warm weather, vibrant nightlife, low living costs, or a more outgoing culture, Sweden might not be the perfect fit. What's undeniable is that Sweden offers remarkable opportunities for personal and professional growth, environmental consciousness, and social security that few countries can match. The challenges are real. The Swedish wall in social interactions, expensive living costs, long dark winters, and the need to navigate complex unwritten social rules. Integration takes genuine effort, cultural sensitivity, and patience. But for those who successfully adapt, Sweden provides a lifestyle that prioritizes human well-being, environmental sustainability, and social equality. Sweden isn't perfect, and it's certainly not for everyone. Success here depends on being mentally and emotionally prepared for significant cultural differences. Don't come with romantic expectations alone. You need a clear understanding of both the opportunities and challenges, plus a real willingness to embrace a fundamentally different way of life. In the end, the real question isn't whether Sweden is perfect, but whether it's perfect for you. Everyone has different dreams, priorities, and circumstances. What some may see as barriers, others might view as opportunities for growth and new experiences. What do you think about this beautiful but challenging Nordic country? Would you be willing to trade your current lifestyle for the Swedish experience? Let me know in the comments what aspects of Swedish life appeal to you most, or what concerns you might have about making such a dramatic change. If this video helped you understand what living in Sweden really means, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're interested in more honest takes on life in different countries, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore another destination that might surprise you.
We are so glad you are with us today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.